Brisbane plays host. It's the Queensland Firebirds up against the Adelaide Ravens. Hello, I'm Anne Sargent for ABC Sport. Welcome to Brisbane for round 12 of the Commonwealth Bank Trophy. This match brings together the two teams sitting in 6 and 7 respectively on the competition table. So although it won't affect positions for the finals, it does promise a wonderful contest. First, let's have a look at how they fared last week. In Sydney, they lifted the roof off the State Sports Centre, the Sandpipers making a run at the defending champions, coming from 11 down and ultimately falling 2 goals short, the Swifts taking the match 45-43. The Kestrels were too good for the Ravens, the Thunderbirds too classy for the Firebirds, and at Challenge Stadium, the Orioles were overcome by the Phoenix 56-31. So after 11 rounds, 5 teams are in contention for the playoffs. The Phoenix remain top of the table, but 3 points back, the battle is on for second place and that all-important berth in the major semi, the Thunderbirds ahead of the Swifts on percentage. 6 points again, and there is another war being waged. The Sandpipers and the Kestrels separated by 1 point and at loggerheads for a place in the minor semi-final. Then it's the Firebirds on 6, the Ravens on 2, and the Orioles yet to notch up a win. Joining me in commentary once again is former Australian captain Vicky Wilson. Vic, it won't affect places at the top of the tree, but it should be a fantastic contest and one that's played for pride.
Oh, absolutely. Both the Firebirds and the Ravens will be very keen to notch another win on the board before the end of the season. It should be a great game with them both evenly matched out there. Interesting to note that both teams have scored 451 goals, with the Ravens conceding 30 more goals than the Firebirds. This game will be won in the mid-court, and I'm looking forward to the battle of Denny Grant on Sasha Connell.
Thanks, Vic. Well, off-court, they're also both the centre of attention. Controversy still brewing as to which team will drop out in 2003. I asked Karen Miller and Trudy Gardner, did the off-court ruckus affect them on-court?
To tell you honestly, Annie, we haven't thought about it as players. It's something that administration is going to make a decision about. Ideally, it'd be nice to have the 9 teams in the competition next year, but it's obviously not going to happen. So we've just been focusing on court, especially about our game tonight. We're really excited about playing the Ravens tonight. We've been focusing on it for many weeks and training really hard, especially throughout the past week. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting one that we hope to be up on.
No, it hasn't. You know, it's just unfortunate that it's come to this, and you know, it's going to be an 18 competition. We would like it to be 9. Unfortunately, you know, we just have to find out until the end of the season.
The Ravens get us underway, round 12. Ravens placed 7th on the table, the Firebirds sitting in 6th position. Umpires for this match, Stacey Campton and Louise McMeekin. Stacey Campton, bottom of screen, running to the right. And the Firebirds need a win in this match to equal their best ever season. 4 wins, their best yet in 1997. An important match for them to push up the ladder. They've shown some promise in 2002. And of course, the Ravens, not having a great season, are playing for pride. Grant. To Durbridge, but it was out of the hands and will be a penalty shot. Mackenzie standing out. Lampshire. Durbridge nets the first of the match. The Ravens have won. They're on the board. Sasha Connell starting in the mid-court for the Firebirds. Last time these two teams met, Cramsey was a fixture in the middle. In fact, several changes to both lines. Vicky, the Ravens sporting a very different combination to that in round 1.
Well, I think they'll be missing Melissa Tump. Made a big impact in their line, particularly early in the season. And also Kelly Venus.
Quick hands from Durbridge finds Edwards, and the Ravens take it to 2.
It's good to see Sasha Connell out there. She's had a strong start to the second part of the season. She spent a lot of the time on the bench. Came on in the second half, did a good job, but I think Sue Hawkins would be looking for 4 good quarters from her.
Contact ball goes against Connell. Grant checks for position. Lampshire alone to Durbridge. And the fingers are working early in round 12 for Sharon Durbridge. Ravens 3, Firebirds zip. Miller, high ball, tries to find Stewart, but too much on it. So the Firebirds have stalled in the opening minutes.
See the Firebirds setting up a centre court press, trying to hold up the Ravens, but Grant far too smart for that, came out straight away.
Swung to the corner to Lampshire. Works the pocket nicely, but doesn't finish. They'll get up with the throw-in. Durbridge steps up to the goal line. Good pressure outside, though, from Leanne Matthews, who causes the turnover for Queensland. Long ball to Peter Stevens. And back to Matthews. It's run down by Edwards, who's working deep through the mid-third in defence.
Instruction goal attack.
The forward line just struggling for the Firebirds, particularly over this transverse. Miller and Connell yet to build up some type of understanding. Good touch by Poole.
A stationary ball, though. No movement onto it, was set up for her. Stevens stands out for the obstruction call. Edwards drops a swisher. Ravens 4-0. Good start for Adelaide. They've been in the press for one reason or another this season, trying to keep their minds on the match. Durbridge settles. Beautiful shot. 5, the Ravens are out 2. No misses on the board for them and no attempts for Queensland. So 5 straight for the Ravens. Queensland looking for their first.
Over with her.
Miller resets the penalty. Into the corner to Connell.
I'd say Stewart took the movement to the wrong side. The ball swung. They really needed a strong drive back to the ball.
Just in the circle.
Chapman.
Carnage offside centre.
Good deception. Plays through Connell. Pushes that one nicely, and that's their first. And it's a worried Sue Hawkins, coach of the Queensland Firebirds. He won't be pleased with the start, but former Australian player and experienced coach knows there's plenty of time yet to rectify that scoreline.
Impressed with the movement by Sharon Durbridge. Not often do you see her coming out of the circle, but she's mixing it up, moving in the circle.
And that was Sharon's 1,500th career goal. She needed 4 in this match and has done just that. So a milestone for the Ravens shooter.
It's another poor disposal from Karen Miller. The second one she's put out over the baseline, trying to feed from the transverse. Really needs to cut to the circle edge. Strong drive by Poole into the midcourt.
Edwards, again, it's Lampshire in the pocket. Durbridge under pressure from Mackenzie, but it's a contact.
She's setting herself very well, Durbridge, in making Mackenzie work off the ball.
She has such a slight build, but her timing is really good onto the ball. And certainly the start of this match, she and Edwards teaming nicely. 6 the difference. 5.5 minutes gone.
Great prelim work by Grant then before the whistle, kept changing direction, making Leanne Matthews go and search for her.
Durbridge brings up her 5th of the match. Ravens more used to starting Grant in the centre, have sat her back at wing attack to concentrate on the feeding role. Stewart.
Contact, ring.
Outside the circle is a contact call. It will go back. Miller. Hands up, will take the penalty. Stewart looking for the hold. Then drops back to screen space. That opens nicely under the post for Chapman. So smart play from Queensland brings up their 2nd of the match. They trail by 6. Adelaide. That one was wishful thinking, and Queensland come up with one of their few turnovers.
She actually had Edwards standing right in front of her.
Chapman looks to Stewart. O'Connell uncontested.
It's a good switch then by Poole and Tucker.
Good work over the ball from Tucker, but Chapman shoots through. And the Firebirds are awake. They're up and running. They've brought it to 3. 5 the difference, but some momentum now in their forward line. Miller off the circle, opening some spaces. Chapman with the drive out. Stewart's working close to the base. Chapman driving to the top. Hurdles that one. Really didn't look comfortable on release. Halfway through the first quarter. Both teams coming off the back of losses in round 11. Convincing losses at that.
Again, well read by Danny Grant, who came up very high in the mid-court to help her team through the centre court press.
Oh, so easy. Durbridge just drops off the back of the pack, frees some space up, takes the Ravens to 9. Last time these two teams met to 10 the difference, the Firebirds having that one, 55-45, as Matthews comes up with one. Chapman, 3 from 5, is sitting at 60%. Stewart has had no attempts. And we're more than halfway through this first quarter. So Stewart, who has been one of the best performers in goals, a little slow to start. She's in the top 10 for both accuracy and number of goals. 6th highest scorer in the league with 270 coming into this match, but hasn't added any to the tally.
Been a very slow start for the Firebirds in the forward line. Great take by Chapman, completely off balance.
Contact call goes against Trudy Gardner. Chapman. There's 2 on Stewart. And they sacrifice Chapman to stay on Stewart, and she makes them pay. Chapman has scored all of Queensland's goals so far. Oh, and running out of room on the baseline was Mandy Edwards, who keeps it alive with the offload to Graf. Great pressure from Mal McKenzie.
Came off the body, had a go at the feed that was coming in, was able to put great hands over.
Absolutely smothered Danny Grant's delivery.
Well, very easy for Stewart. A quick 1-2.
And that's her first of the match. Carla Stewart is now on the stats sheet, averaging 76% this season. Lost the handle. Who wants it? Oh, an appeal comes from Leanne Matthews for the contact call, and the response comes from Stacey Campton.
Advantage obstruction, wing.
Chapman there for the offload, finds Stewart. Well, when she's got it, she's hot. Firebirds centre, 3 the difference. They were 11 apiece when they went to the break in the first round. Round 12, it's been the Ravens who have been the quicker out of the blocks. They've dominated this first period. Danny Grant flies through the midcourt, opens the arm up to connect with Edwards. Into the corner, they find Lampshire.
Good front position by Durbridge.
That one, though, drops short after a wonderful shooting performance to that point. And now the Firebirds able to bring it back to just 2. And they do through Stewart. Firebirds hit 10. And it's a good crowd here at the arena in Brisbane, enjoying their Firebirds in chase position, but coming back. Danny Grant struggling to find an option, but they'll have a second chance. Obstruction call goes against McKenzie. Durbridge steps it in, swishes out of the fingers nicely. Leaders back to 3. Jackie Blythe, the Ravens coach, will be pleased with this start. They're actually a little late getting to the venue, had the directions going the radar the wrong way.
I think they heard the Gold Coast was the place to be.
Well, they were heading there, and that was the wrong way, Jose. So after a shaky intro, they actually started the better of the 2. Durbridge, Lampshire, drops it nicely. Just over a minute to the difference. Mandy Edwards puts up her 5th. She's sitting at 83%. Firebirds with a chance to reply. They have the centre. Stewart swings it to the corner.
Free pass. Where you are.
Penalty never set will be taken now by Chapman. It's an offside call, and that'll be another. Well, quick hands, but didn't have enough speed on it. Goes against Stewart. So maybe it's the Ravens who'll add another before the break. That's a footwork call, so neither side able to capitalise on possession. 15 seconds. It's the Ravens by 3. Oh, good work from Trudy Gardner. Pressure on Miller outside the circle. And you see on the arm of Trudy Gardner, 2003, that's the Ravens' statement that they want to be there next season. Ravens in 2003, and it's Ravens in round 12 as they go to the break, enjoying a 2-goal lead over the Queensland Firebirds, 14-12.
A good quarter from the Ravens, very economical with their turnovers, particularly in the forward line. Only 2 against Edwards and Lampshire and 1 against Durbridge and Grant. But the shooting is absolutely remarkable. 9 from 10 from Durbridge and 5 from 6 from Edwards.
Ravens get us underway, second quarter. Danny Grant with a strong drive. The circle connects with Durbridge, who's been in great form and continues that form into the second period. She's at 91% with 10 from 11. Good work from Gardner. So the Ravens very committed to this win in round 12. And I'm sure equally committed the Firebirds. Not that their status on the ladder this season necessarily has any bearing on which team will fall out of the competition in 2003, but both determined to make their statement on court as well as off.
Well, I think both teams coming into this game were very much aware that they could actually get out there and get a win on the board. They're both very confident that this is the one for them.
Durbridge drops it short. Shooting practice, second chance, that one falls. Back to 4 the difference. The centre with the Ravens. Lampshire lets it fly before reconsidering. So the Ravens with some markings on their arms. We saw earlier 2003. Other players have on their arm 2 for SA. 2 teams for SA. Miller. Stewart. Drop it along the ground. A little mully grubber collected by Stewart. He wants closer position. Good pressure from Tucker. Doesn't phase Stewart, though, who's 7 from 7. Firebirds have scored the last 2. Through the hands of Grant. Edwards does her best to keep it in play. Sorry, it was Poole chasing it down, but best wasn't enough. Well, that was off the hands of Leanne Matthews through the midcourt, although it's brought back as over a third. Matthews at full stretch, got a touch, just couldn't keep it. And that would seem retribution.
Absolutely, not a great call. The Firebirds will be keen to score off this one.
Chapman does just that. She's 8 from 10. In fact, it's a wonderful shooting performance from all 4 on court. Stewart, who was so slow to get on board, now leads the way with the 100%. Lampshire off balance, needs some support play. It comes in the shape of Trudy Gardner. Well, there was a bit on that from Mackenzie, but it had enough to carry. The difference is 2. Holding call goes against Leanne Matthews. Danny Grant working her speed nicely at wing attack for the Ravens. Mackenzie's come out with a bit more passion in this quarter, Vicky.
Well, positioning is much better. She's getting around in front of Durbridge. I thought towards the end of that first quarter, Durbridge had the front position all the time and Mackenzie was slow to adjust.
It's off the sideline as Peter Stevens runs to take the restart. Red and black everywhere.
Not a good option for Stevens with Connell going straight to the sideline, but she dragged the penalty.
That was a nice ball from Connell. I thought it might have had too much. It floated, though, and it's taken well by Chapman. Stewart wants to finish it. 8 straight for Carla Stewart. It's back to 1. So the Firebirds having a better start in the second period. They were non-existent at the start of the game. Now they've worked their way in. Oh, the reply comes from Jane Poole. Both teams have come up with the pace up a notch second quarter.
I think the Firebirds got themselves in trouble with their timing in that passage of play in the forward line.
Edwards steadies. Too much on it. Mackenzie comes down with it. It's hard to imagine somebody challenging her down in that circle. She certainly is the standout as time is taken for Peter Stevens.
Here we see Stevens coming down and clashes with Mandy Edwards. I think it might have been her knee.
Mandy Edwards out of play for causing contact. Firebirds in possession. A little slow to pick up the offer. Miller and Connell not able to offset their moves. Won the difference. Firebirds on the comeback trail. There's a lot on that from Brown. I thought she misjudged how much space was available. And to be honest, it's a little difficult to see the court markings on the floor. I would think that's particularly so for the visitors. Miller. High ball to Chapman. Connell releases space and Miller works the pocket. Matthews offside, but it is a contact against Danny Grant.
Stacey Kemp inferring that Grant gave her a little bump to push her offside before she got the ball.
And she's right.
Absolutely. It was a good nudge.
Bull on stretch, has the jump as well. But Chapman shoots through, that's her 9th. Go Firebirds, go. And they're doing just that. They've leveled at 17 apiece. First time they've been in position in the match. But that was a fantastic ball to Edwards, who pushes the Ravens out in front.
Great vision by Trudy Gardner, who lines up Mandy Edwards under the post. I'm not quite sure where Stevens was.
I don't know, but Matthews was left on the edge of the circle, stretching out. He wasn't going to get very far from wing defence. Scores are locked again. Ravens with the centre. Grant opens a circle, drives Lamshire around. And again, Mandy Edwards, so deceptive, is found at the post alone, but can't net. Mackenzie with good rebounding stats. 4 rebounds is the standout under the post so far. This would be the first time the Firebirds have hit the front in this match if they can make use of possession, and no, they're thwarted by Tucker.
That was well read by Tucker, came out, had a go. Any ball that's drifting back in the pocket, she made her intentions known right from the first ball the Firebirds put into the pocket.
Ravens letting the ball go nicely in attack, are floating it well ahead on the fingertips. As Durbridge is down, she's in bother. Ravens with possession. Durbridge. Edwards holding under the post for the offload, not needed. Durbridge in great form. Put up her 13th. The lead is back with the Ravens. In fact, the lead is running with the centre in this second quarter. The Firebirds, having established themselves in the match, having trailed by 2 coming into this second, are now running neck and neck with the Adelaide Ravens. 19 apiece, just over halfway through this second quarter.
Strong drive by Grant. She comes into that golfer with such speed.
Well, Grant tries to create something from nothing, and Queensland shut it down. This would be for the lead. It would be against the run of centres. Last time Queensland had this opportunity, there was an intercept from the Ravens defenders. Stewart. again, the Ravens thwart the turnover opportunity. Danny Grant, full stretch. Neither side wants to take number 20. Chapman, quick ball finds Stewart. Tucker slides off quickly, and that is it. The Firebirds, the first to reach 20, have hit the front for the first time in this match and have broken the run of the centres. This will be for 2. Chapman's hands have upped the speed. The release is now quick and sharp, and Stewart is rewarding her. Stewart, with only 1 miss so far in this match, is at 92%. Firebirds by 2. Important time now for the Ravens, who must show composure and stay in this goal-for-goal run. The Firebirds have scored the last 3 on the trot. There is the reply. Back to 1. Miller, Chapman, again working the hands quickly, changes the direction. Well, the idea was great, and Stewart comes up with it.
The defenders did well. They switched position. They just had their heads down.
Stewart did well to get her hands up quick enough to take that ball. Back to 2, the Firebirds with the lead. Lampshire to Edwards. Stevens has sagged back and is working back in the circle with Mackenzie, and they come up with the goods as a result. Durbridge out of play. Long ball to Matthews, and she can't handle. Firebirds try to set up some mid-court congestion. That's, well, thought out of the hands, but it comes up as a throw-in.
Again, we see 3 Firebirds packing the mid-court.
Well, the Ravens, unfazed, just look beyond the last man in the zone and put it to the back.
A lot of heavy defence going on around the edge of the circle by the Firebirds.
Top of the circle. Yes. Yes.
Well, Adelaide play the ball while everybody's listening to the umpiring call. It caught the Firebirds defenders a little off balance. Firebirds by 1. Well, that had a lot of float and loop on it. Comes up in Ravens' hands. Poole to Gardner. Grant working hard at wing attack. Lampshire. Grant takes the cut to the top of the circle. Bit of razzle-dazzle in the Firebirds' front line this week. Miller takes the penalty. Poole is out. A 2-on-1 for Tucker. Chapman through the left hand. Splits it back to 2. Firebirds with the restart, and Mandy Edwards has left the court. Kristen Heinrich replaces her. Edwards, I know, hasn't been well recently. She was grabbing for the Ventolin as she left the court, so Mandy Edwards replaced at goal attack by Heinrich. And the Ravens now with it ahead of them to address a 4-goal deficit. Firebirds have scored the last 3. Grant winds up the arm and finds Lampshire in the corner.
Oh, a strong drive by Heinrich, right from the centre third. Put the foot down. Not the greatest of shots.
Well, she's come cold from the bench and hasn't warmed up the shooting arm. That air ball, I don't think we'll see again. It's back to 3. Miller off the line. Pressure from Gardner, but it's an offside call against Heinrich. Gardner stood herself out of play. It's an offside call. That was an assumption, a very negative one from Trudy Gardner. Oh, yes, up goes Tucker. She's pulled in a couple of nice ones to give possession back to the Ravens. That's a great change of direction from Heinrich, who's perhaps a little more erratic and unpredictable in her style of play to Edwards.
She did well in reading that space, though. The change of direction certainly did catch Peter Stevens going the wrong way, but she is quite unpredictable, and she does do that hold quite well in the circle.
And the radar was switched on. She got the next attempt, and she's brought it back to 2. It'll give the Firebirds defence something new to think about, if nothing else. We've got a contest on our hands with just seconds remaining until half-time.
Barnage offside, wing.
Up goes Heinrich. Nice stretch. Keeps the inside foot planted, adds a second to the Ravens tally, and it's back to a one-goal game. Long ball to Stewart, who had good front position on Tucker. She nets her 14. Ravens.
Oh, Mackenzie has the reach over the shot, but it doesn't stop Durbridge.
A good composure from Durbridge. 77% for 17 goals. Oh, that's a nice ball. No fuss ball from Miller. No goal, though. And so the Firebirds have reversed fortunes in the second quarter. They now enjoy a one-goal lead. They go to the break 26, leading the Ravens 25.
Nothing much between the both sides. 28 penalties against the Firebirds, 29 on the Ravens. The rebounds favouring the Firebirds, but it's percentage which favours the Firebirds, 87% to 71% for the Ravens.
The Ravens with the centre. In fact, they've had the centre at the start, coincidentally, of every quarter so far. Fine ball to find. Heinrich under the post gives them a good pathway and the first shot of the third quarter and an equaliser. 26 apiece. Fine game so far.
Absolutely. It's been evenly matched throughout the game. Stats reflect that, but I like the pace at which they've come out in that second quarter, particularly the Firebirds. They maintained it for the entire quarter.
Both teams in this match able to let the ball go, so there's been good flow from both sides. Good attacking netball. As Stewart goes to the post, and that one disappoints, but it's only a second miss of the match. She is the most accurate on court at 88%. Danny Grant waiting for some salvation. It comes in the form of Heinrich.
Nice move by Durbridge.
What pressure she was under from Mal Mackenzie. Really had the reach covered and comes up with the rebound. She's having a fine game for the Firebirds as Danny Grant wipes the floor.
Oh, she had a lot of help from Matthews, who came up and just hit her fair in the back. Not sure why Stacey Campton didn't call it. She saw it.
Holding goalkeeper, pass or shot.
Perhaps she saw the end of the move rather than the beginning. It's all history now as Stewart steps it in, hesitates.
The shot has to be retaken because Alison Tucker left the defensive position.
She trailed in with Stewart, and she must, of course, remain there until the ball's released. And, oh, that's still for nothing. 26 apiece, no goal for the Firebirds. Good pressure from Sasha Connell. She comes up with the reward. Firebirds have another opportunity. Ravens have scored the last two.
Barnage offside,
Miller,
wing.
Connell, Stewart with a long lead. Sideways.
Barnage offside,
The
centre.
ball's swinging a lot for both sides from pocket to pocket. They don't really connect with anyone at the top of the circle.
With the centre.
Connell waiting for something to open, and it didn't. Shakes it around, shakes it again.
Barnage contact, wing
Offloads
defence.
to Miller.
Goal defence, contact, pass or shot.
Well, they get access
Where you are
courtesy
now.
of a contact call
Step
against
up.
Jane Poole.
Yes.
And the Firebirds have regained the lead. And Shida Grant. Heinrich down for a moment. Recovers.
Nice stop then by Lampshire to give us space to go into that pocket. This time Mel Mackenzie caught putting a hand on the ball. She can't do that.
Heinrich with 4 from 5 since she replaced Mandy Edwards late in the second quarter. So she's put up 80% since coming into the game. A good start from her. Lampshire, Grant, the moves are away for the ball, but they're uncontested.
Well, Durbridge, just her timing was out completely, came out of the circle. They were left with a one-on-one situation. She should have been able to open up Mackenzie. Here we see the positional swap by Mackenzie and Stevens. Now they've gone back to normal.
Contact centre.
Contact puts Connell out. And now it will be moved further in, and it's Mackenzie out. So the Ravens go to the post courtesy of a couple of contacts, but they can't find the net. Nor can the Firebirds connect. So some scrappy play early in this third quarter. Both teams frustrated. 27 apiece, anybody's game. Who will have the tickle for it? Oh, that was nicely hauled in by Lampshire, who took her eyes off the ball just to check she had space left before hitting the circle. Durbridge brings up the gap for the Ravens. And now with the centre, they have the opportunity to take it to 2. That's a great ball in to Durbridge, but a bit on it from Mal Mackenzie. There's some pressure on the shooting hand. Now Danny Grant will stand out. That's the 7th penalty, I should say, against Mal Mackenzie. Mind you, she's pulled in 8 rebounds, so a pretty even ledger.
Absolutely, she's having a fine game, particularly on the rebounds. I still think she can do some more work outside the circle when Durbridge comes out and stop her coming from back in.
Wing defence contact, participating wing.
Participating from an out-of-play position. As we pointed out on a couple of occasions, when you're in an out-of-play position, not only can you not physically take part, but you can't use a hand signal or a verbal gesture. 83% and 82%, so the Firebirds in great form in goal. If they can hold that to the end of the match, Sue Hawkins will be well pleased with them. And the Ravens a little down on Heinrich only because of that last miss. Durbridge, though, solid all match.
Yes.
A long arm of
Trudy Gardner. Yeah, she was penalised for kicking the ball. She went to stop it and it came off her foot.
Miller puts on the brakes and hauls some back space. Stewart opens up under the post. The Firebirds, by 2, have scored the last 3 goals on the trot. Quick hands, Connell to Miller. There was some snappy work in the Firebirds line.
Great timing then by Stewart, came up the middle.
She's taken the Firebirds to a 3-goal lead. Have the Ravens the heart for this contest? They've been under pressure this season for one reason or another.
Throw in halfway.
Grant won't let them give up easily.
They need a lot more offers in the circle. That's where they're struggling. They've got too many people that are stationary. Both Durbridge and Heinrich out of the circle. They need to mix up their timing.
Stewart nudges it out to 4 goals. It's a good finish from the Firebirds in this third period.
Goal shooter contact.
Contact goes against Stewart, who I think knew that she was struggling to get to where that ball was going and needed to put something in.
Unfortunately, you can't put a wing in.
No. Heinrich attracts a lot of attention, and Durbridge coughs up a loose ball, swarmed on by the Firebirds.
Bardage contact, wing defence. Bardage offside, wing.
Good support play from the Firebirds, keeps it alive. And Stewart offers the finish. Put up her 21st goal of the match.
Ravens centre.
The tide has turned for the Firebirds and put their foot down.
Heinrich.
Advantage obstruction, wing.
Durbridge onto the ball. Heinrich, though, doesn't wrap around the post. And so often the 2 Ravens shooters have taken the same position, made it difficult for their feeders. They come up with the goal, though, bring it back to 4. Just over 2 minutes remaining until the break. Both teams desperate for the win. Grant finds another opportunity for the Ravens.
There's a sloppy offload then by Chapman, very casual.
Contact, wing attack.
Goes against Miller. Grant works the space top of the circle. Doesn't have too many options from his shooters, and it won't drop for Durbridge.
Great outlet by Stevens. Miller's gone a little bit quiet towards this last passage of play. See Chapman doing a lot more work out the quarter. Sorry, out in front of the circle.
Not too much resistance down court from the Ravens, who've fallen away from their defensive effort in the centre third. Chapman, they're out to 5, the Queensland Firebirds. And they'll have crowd support in the last quarter if they need it. Sharon Durbridge nets her 20th goal. Miller. Chapman finds Stewart, but there's pressure from Poole. Sasha Connell collects the ball. Poole and Stewart having a bit of a go around behind play in the circle. They're trying to stay off Stewart so they can make a run at the high ball. Poole knows what to do, just gets there late. It was a good ball into Carla Stewart. 38 plays 33. The Firebirds have made a run in the last minute. Durbridge sweetly on to Heinrich. He drops it short. Pressure taking its toll on the Ravens shooters. Their stats have dropped to a combined 63%. The Firebirds, in comparison, are hurtling at home.
Good timing then by Chapman on the pop out.
Out of the left hand. 39 plays 33. Firebird centre. Time to make it 40 if they let it go. Stewart to the post. That is number 40. What a finish from the Firebirds.
Time.
And that is time. The Ravens will have the centre to start the fourth. And it's a happy Firebirds camp. They've taken the lead out to 7 in that third quarter. They lead the Ravens 40-33.
The penalties against the Firebirds, I think, reflect the defensive work of Stevens and Matthews and McKenzie. The intercepts also, Matthews and Stevens working very hard. The turnovers quite high against Stewart, particularly on the crossover ball, but the shooting's been excellent. 23 from 26 on Stewart, and Chapman 17 from 20.
Final quarter, and as has been the pattern at the start of each quarter, the Ravens in possession with the centre. And I have to tell you, the Firebirds ran out from their huddle, were on court, ready and waiting. They want to finish this match. A great third quarter for them sees them 7 goals up on the Adelaide Ravens, having trailed them at the end of the first quarter. So the Firebirds have taken command. Can the Ravens reply?
Obstruction, lessening.
Durbridge draws one back.
Firebirds.
Chapman.
Contact, wing defense.
Firebirds went to that first break trailing by 2, very slow to come out of the blocks. It was all Ravens in the first 5 minutes. They rectified the state of play in that second period, ran goal for goal and ended up with just the slimmest margin at half-time. But the third quarter did the damage for them. The Firebirds really put the foot down, particularly in the last 5 minutes of that period, to go to the three-quarter break, 40-33. So if they can maintain possession from their centre, the job should be done, but it's never that simple.
Absolutely. I think the Ravens, they'll be trying their utmost to come home hard.
Firebirds.
Strong start then by Heinrich, straight to the post. She's forgotten about that first shot she had.
It's rather nasty of you to keep reminding her that it was an air ball. Miller goes up high, offloads to Chapman. Waits to see what Poole's going to do. Through the hands of Tucker, but it reflects off Stewart, and the Ravens come up with the throw-in.
Holding goal attack.
Holding call against Chapman.
Next to her.
Tucker takes the penalty. Looks for Grant, who was under pressure. Probably was a poor choice of outlet ball.
Absolutely, that's the type of pass the defensive side wants the attacking team to put out, and Ali Tucker just plays straight into the Firebirds' hands.
Have another chance though now. Grant in possession. Heinrich back to Grant.
Centre contact, top of the circle. Centre.
Connell will stand out.
Nice wide base by Durbridge.
But it's brought under the post with
Contact on the ball.
Stevens out of play. Now they're both out. Shooting practice for Heinrich.
Mackenzie caught putting a hand on the ball.
Advantage break, goal attack.
They trail the Firebirds by 8.
Advantage obstruction, goal attack.
Stewart winds the arm up. Connects with Connell. Sideline to sideline.
Contact, keeper. Yes. Keeper next to her. Yes.
Firebirds by 9. The Ravens trying to stem the flow.
Contact, goal attack.
Heinrich. Oh, nice ball to Durbridge, who's uncontested and puts that one in comfortably. 20% difference in the shooting stats between these two teams in this match. Halfway through this final quarter, it would appear the Firebirds will have this one. Plenty of time to turn it around, but it's a pretty consistent effort from the young Firebirds outfit. Tucker falls off the task. Stewart offloads. May well have been better advised to go to the post.
Contact, Ravens, centre.
He's one of the most accurate in the league. Hesitates to see what Poole will do, and Poole will jump at it.
That was great timing by Poole.
It just won't come, this goal. The 47th goal stalled on the Firebirds. Grant to Heinrich. Ravens looking for the fast break. Heinrich thinks about pushing it on, but Durbridge under pressure. That one buckets out. It's run down again by Heinrich. Not much composure in the Ravens forward line. Seems to be glimpses of panic as they try to play it on.
Advantage contact, wing defence.
Again, the defensive pressure of the Firebirds is very tough on the outsides. Not much space.
Contact, goal defence.
Goes against Peter Stevens, but she's trying to make a case for the fact that Heinrich had her foot wedged to the ground. She was trapped under Heinrich.
But the call went, get off her, and Stevens replied, how? Her foot was on top of Stevens.
Maybe she should have just pulled it out.
Yes.
Maybe so. But being a shooter, I think Stevens was entitled to ask the question, though.
Connell.
Contact.
Chapman leans out of it and finds the elusive number 47 for the Firebirds. Danny Grant trying to run it home.
Great thing about Grant, she knows when she's caught the defender going past her, she wants to step her on and play and take advantage of it.
Yeah, she's got one of the best set of breaks in the business. Back up good from Stevens. Slapped at by Gardner, who stood out.
She's been very quiet tonight, Trudy Gardner. She's got a couple of steps off the pace.
Inside. Yes.
This contest getting more and more physical
Contact.
as the final whistle approaches. It's the Firebirds by 9.
Yes.
And there's a lot going on behind play. Oh, that was tit for tat. Stewart and Tucker going a round or two. I think Stewart unlucky in that Stacey Campton caught her at that moment.
Time, please.
We see Tucker going for the ball and Stewart. They both had eyes for the ball.
Contact, goal attack.
And now Chapman stood out. The whistle coming out plentifully against the Firebirds forward line. Heinrich with a pretty play to keep it alive. Runs rings around Stevens. They need to steady. Good offload. Durbridge makes sure with that one. Miller. 4 minutes remaining.
Poor disposal by Miller. She tried to force it through. There was no way she could get past those hands.
Contact, goal shooter.
Oh, it goes against Durbridge for using the bottom and pushing off. So it's a frustrated Ravens outfit in this final period. Frustrated many times this season, and now feeling the pressure of discussions as to which team will fall out in season 2003. The Firebirds, they're greedy, they want more. The crowd is driving them home. Connell pulls it in nicely. This time the call goes against Poole. Firebirds have hit 48. They managed 55 last time they met the Ravens. It's been a pretty torrid affair in this final period, though. Plenty of whistle, plenty of contact.
Oh, Durbridge under pressure. Mel McKenzie, her reach is just unbelievable.
Other side.
Number 40 for the Ravens. They trail by 8. Less than 3 remaining. Stevens to Connell. Chapman frees herself up and finds Stewart nicely, who's backpedaling but manages to balance, manages to finish, and brings up number 49 for Queensland. Heinrich keeps it in play.
Lemshiel was slow on that release.
And the slower the release, the more she forces Heinrich towards the sideline. 9 the difference. The Firebirds, well, I'm sure both wanted it, but the Firebirds have turned it around.
Advantage offside, goal attack.
They have, I think, the Kestrels and the Swifts remaining as their final 2 matches, so very tough asks for them, but one win, just one more, would make it their best ever season.
Instruction, both
And
players out.
I think it's safe to say they're going to go for it, particularly in that Kestrels game.
Firebirds.
Ravens hit 41. The Firebirds are looking for the half century. Long ball to Stewart. Oh, the pressure from Tucker makes no difference. The Firebirds bring up number 50, and Carla Stewart brings up her 30th. So Stewart and Chapman sharing the goals pretty well this match.
Contact, goal defense.
9 the difference.
Contact of the ball, both players out. Goalkeeper out of play. Not out of
I
play.
don't know that you could call that out of play by McKenzie.
Well, no, she was pulled up, and Meakin asked her to move around, but the shot was put up.
Yeah, she really didn't make much of an effort. It was called an advantage goal in the end.
That was a nice headbutt by Karen Miller off the ball.
The Falcon.
Advantage obstruction.
Gardner down court. Good lead from Durbridge, splits the circle.
Wing. Yes. Yes.
Oh, what a ball from Grant. Fires it in, connects with Durbridge.
Ravens.
She'll bring it back to 7 the difference, just seconds remaining. So the Ravens will keep the margin under 10.
Goal attack. Wait for her. Goal attack. Hurry up. Yes.
Advantage obstruction, wing attack.
Heinrich. Durbridge takes it nicely under pressure. Every move from McKenzie. Back to 6. Chapman checks the circle, goes to the pocket to Miller, picks up Chapman with a wonderful drive to the post, and Chapman nets her 21st and Queensland's 51st, and that is it. Round 12 goes to the Firebirds. What a head on the ladder than their opponents, the Ravens. They take their tally to 8 points on the competition table with a fine performance. Ran them down in the first. got themselves back into the game after a slow start, but it's the final score that they will most enjoy from this match. 51, they beat the Ravens 44. Penalties slightly against the winners. You mentioned time and time again, Mackenzie, influential in the rebounding department, contributed 10 of those 17 rebounds for the Firebirds. The attempts, in fact, favoured the Ravens, but it was accuracy that benefited the Firebirds in the end. 84% accuracy compared to the Ravens' 64. And, of course, that final scoreline all important. 51, the Firebirds take the Ravens 44. Vicky Wilson is courtside with Mel Mackenzie.
Thanks, Annie. Well, Mel, you got off to a slow start, but you built throughout the game and you ended up finishing very strongly.
Yeah, we did. It was a bit of a worry at the start. We didn't have the best of warm-ups, but we did come through well, so I was very happy with that.
The shooting performance by Stewart and Chapman was outstanding. They got better as the game went on.
They did, yeah. I think they're just getting the swing of it, and they're comfortable out there.
And you and Peter Stevens had an absolute field day, particularly in the rebounds. The work rate in the circle made it almost impossible for Heinrich and Durbridge to find any space.
Yeah, Pete and I have been really working hard on it this week. We've been a bit disappointed with a few of our games the last few weeks, so yeah, glad it came out well.
Well, you should be very pleased, particularly in your own game. You played very well.
Thank you very much.
Well, a happy Queensland Firebirds camp.
This is the battle for second place. The Thunderbirds hosting the Swifts in round 12 of the Commonwealth Bank Trophy. Welcome to Etsa Park in Adelaide. I'm Steve Rebillard for ABC Sport, and you can sense in the build-up to this match what it means to the teams and to the competition. These are the sides that contested last year's grand final, and they are a better chance of making it through to this year's title decider if they win today and tie up one of those top two positions. It's assumed with 3 rounds to play and with a 3-point lead that Melbourne Phoenix will probably get the minor premiership. Let's see what the teams got up to last week in round 11. And the Swifts won another cliffhanger in the Sydney Derby, this time beating the Sandpipers by 2. The Kestrels moved into the top 4 with that 14-goal victory over the Ravens, while the Thunderbirds and Phoenix achieved the expected results against the Firebirds and Orioles respectively. So Phoenix are sitting on 10 wins, a draw and 21 points in what's been a wonderful season for them. The Thunderbirds and Swifts are both on 18, but the T-Birds do have a decided percentage advantage. The Kestrels are the new owners of 4th position, but just 1 point ahead of the Sandpipers. The bottom 3 remain unchanged, the Firebirds, Ravens and Orioles. Well, Monica Lamb joins me for this important match, Thunderbirds and Swifts, and some late-breaking news about Kath Harvey-Williams, Monica.
Yes, Steve. Catherine Harvey-Williams may not be playing. It's a bit like the Rolling Stones without Mick Jagger, but they can cover Kath Harvey's position, I'm sure. Also, the Swifts have got 3 that are on the sick list. There's apparently a bug going through the team. They've been seen to by the doctor, so it should be a very interesting game with that side depleted somewhat.
Well, it's a 4-quarter game and you must concentrate 15 minutes each quarter and make no mistakes. Let's hear what some of the key players have got to say about that.
I think just a great start is what we're after, and once we get a good start, then obviously it carries on from there. But we do have strategies in place that if we aren't doing so well, then we have a few set plays that we do, so they're obviously pretty important to us. And obviously just slowing the ball down, yeah, just concentration for the whole 15 minutes of each quarter is the key.
It's a difficult one. I don't think we've done it at all this season. We've done, 2 quarters here, 3 quarters there, but it's a difficult thing. We've been practicing at training, if you drop a ball, it's a court sprint and all that kind of stuff to get us to be more intense. But I think it's just a bit of practice and it's coming together for us now, so hopefully tonight will be our night.
The Swifts will start the match in possession, but with not quite the lineup we were expecting. There's Catherine Cox sitting beside her coach, Julie Fitzgerald. Now, Cox too unwell to play, and there's a bug going through the Swifts team, which has really rocked their preparation. So Megan Anderson, a goal shooter, playing beside Otschwager. Michelle Fippard and Sharon Kelly looking after this match. That's Sharon on screen now, and Fippard running this line. But this is not the way the Swifts wanted to come to this most important game, but nor for that matter the Thunderbirds, Monica.
No, Kath Harvey not in the Thunderbirds lineup, and perhaps the Swifts may draw from this, Steve. You know, down on personnel. Megan Anderson in at goal shooter has started very effectively for them in the first minute.
But she's only played in goals in 2 matches this season and limited quarters there. She's shot 9 from 13 for the season. She's been playing at centre and wing attack. But if you think back to last year's grand final, which they won, they had Anderson and Olschwager in goals that day.
Yeah, so it could be a combination here that Julie Fitzgerald will be happy to see.
The difficulty is that Olschwager, we know, is not well, nor is Bryony Akel at wing attack, nor is Liz Ellis.
No, and Bryony Akel at wing attack has to run. There's a fair amount of court for her to cover as the Thunderbirds try and answer 2 scores there that Swifts have got on the board.
Carrie Worthy looks completely at ease out there, doesn't she? Didn't play in the match in round 5, but the Thunderbirds won quite convincingly. Well, not convincingly, really.
By 3 goals,
3 goals in the end, but they had a
46.
very convincing first quarter, 19-10, and went on to win it.
Liz Ellis has had a few good touches here in first few minutes of this first term. Doesn't look too ill at the moment.
And Rebecca Sanders is the on-court captain for the Thunderbirds tonight. So Delaney shooting 70% for the season. That's a little better for the career. She's just had a year a little down for her. Olschwager. Anderson. Well, we've often talked this season about how important it is for players to be versatile. They've got to fill a number of roles, and that could be the case for a number of players tonight. And Julie Fitzgerald came up to us before the game, Monica, and said they'd be lucky to finish the match with 7.
I threw my hand up and said I'm perhaps good for 15, but she laughed and walked away. So
she knew you were good for 30.
Well, I was speaking to Jane Olschwager before the game and asked how she was, and she said she's really crook. So that's not like Jane either.
Adamson looking for Akel. So we've got 2 of the Von Bertos out there. Laura at wing attack and Natalie at wing defence. Laura the older by a couple of years, 21. Natalie is 19. Olschwager. Round and round and down. So they've made an all right start, the Swifts. See how they can carry it through. They might be happier, Monica, with a slower paced game than they might normally play against the Thunderbirds.
The positive for the Thunderbirds is that they've still got the same forward line. There are not too many changes up front, but I would hazard a guess that perhaps Peter Squire's going to find it very hard to adjust in a goal defence for the first part of the game.
Fantastic crowd here, we should say, too, at Etzer Park. It's just about a full house sign-up with a lot of families and kids coming from around the state, far away as Port Broughton. I was talking to some folks from up that way. Made the 2 or 3 hour trip down. They're going to drive back tonight and be home in time for the netball tomorrow. Great crowd here today. Worthley open on the baseline. And the Thunderbirds hit the front after conceding the first 2. Delaney.
Holding it up really well, waiting for Sanders to make the position.
Oh. Liz Ellis would like to have taken a hand away from that. She just winced and knew it was off her. So did the umpire. Nicely weighted ball from Delaney to Worthley.
Nicely timed move there also from Worthley on the baseline.
So after dropping the first 2 goals, the Thunderbirds have scored 5-1. Chance for the Swifts to answer now. Adamson with it. Adamson, of course, can play anywhere really from centre forward. Timing a bit off there for the Swifts, and the Thunderbirds fly down court with it. Look at those moves
split
on from Delaney.
Great split there from Jackie Delaney. Came right through the defenders. As it moves in, Lomberto offloads. Delaney just splits the middle.
And a penalty against Liz Ellis. The Thunderbirds have not missed. Good early signs for their shooting. 6 from 6. Well, she looks like she enjoys it. I like watching Carrie play. The one so young, at ease in this company.
Thunderbirds scoring the last 5.
Olschwager. One back for the Swifts. A strong rebound from it. Peter Squire, you mentioned, not used to playing in the circle there. We've only seen her a handful of times across 5 years.
And that's where the position there needs to be taken up in front of the shooter. Bradley, 5 from 5. Both the Thunderbird shooters on 100%.
Todd Miller, our stats man, tells us that Peter's only played back in goal defence 3 times in nearly 6 years of competition. And of course, she's the only player not to have missed a game. It's number 95 for Peter Squire there tonight.
And I would suggest too that perhaps Margango has used Squire perhaps to cover Harvey, taken her off for a rest.
I think the only game that Kath Harvey has missed was when she played for that World 7 a couple of years ago in New Zealand.
Yes.
And we hope she has a speedy recovery because, of course, the Australian team flies out this weekend on Sunday for Manchester, well, Wales, first of all. The Commonwealth Games is the project on their minds after this one. Anderson, long-range shot for her, and Squire the rebound.
Oh, great offload there from Squire, opening up the court.
Probably enjoyed that. Laura von Berto. Sanders.
Worthy as she goes into the circle.
Contact against Alison Broadbent.
So both shooters, Thunderbirds, 5 from 5, 10 attempts to post. Down the other end for the Swifts, 8 attempts to post. 5 successful.
Gee, they've settled well as Worthley plants that left foot. And Broadbent takes the rebound. That's their first miss of the match.
Oh.
Wilson looking for Adamson. Sanders the contact. Sydney the ball. Adamson now. Olschwager.
Oh, great take there from Von Berto.
That was Natalie. Anderson. Akel. Stepping call against Thunderbirds, resulting in the turnover and another Swifts goal.
See what this turnover was about. There's Bomberto. Perhaps it was offside. No, it didn't look as yes.
Didn't look like. Does that look like a step to you, Tolstoy? No, he shakes his head. Oh, it's all very fine for us. The benefit of a nice replay. Ouch.
Melza Fellows coming in there very late.
Oh, just
takes
a bit.
Anderson's ponytail. Now Anderson needs one more goal here from our statistician to score her 1,800th goal, career goal. And she's missed it on that occasion. She's 3 from 4 at the moment.
Possessions with Olschwager. So we know that Olschwager, Akel, Liz Ellis and Catherine Cox, who's been unable to start, all unwell. And of course, Liz Ellis and Kath Harvey-Williams and Alison Broadbent all due to fly out this weekend, along with Sanders, Delaney,
Cox too, yes.
and Squire, and Cox, yes,
Yeah.
Cox, of course.
So need to eradicate that illness there amongst all players.
Well, we hear they called the doctor to the hotel 2 o'clock this morning to try and settle down the upset stomachs. Akel, contact against Sanders. 4 penalties against Rebecca Sanders.
Advantage offside wing. On the ball, keeper, pass or shot.
Might just feel that more responsibility as captains, might be trying that a little bit harder. And there we are, 1,800 career goals for Megan Anderson, although she's not played a lot in goals this season, as we mentioned. To the lead for the Thunderbirds.
Oh, great elevation there from Laura von Berto on Gilsonen.
Gee, the Von Berto sisters are out here to impress, aren't they? Throwing themselves at everything.
Just good.
Liz Ellis is back on court. She's all right. Had an actually right calf muscle strapped. I'll keep an eye on that. Delaney. Laura von Berto. Sanders manages to shake off Adamson. Hold against Alison Broadbent. Shot for Delaney. For a 2-goal lead. 2.5 out from the first break.
Settling in very nicely. Jackie Delaney has probably had Bit of a shaky season as far as her percentage goes. But at the moment, 7 from 7. Oh, replay ball, do you think? No, no control.
She took her eye off it, didn't she? She didn't catch it cleanly at all. First grab. Anderson is given possession. Third time lucky, yes.
Advantage, yes.
You consider they were down by 9, the Swifts, back in round 5 at quarter time. It's a better first quarter, away from home. How will they go with these unwell players? Delaney. First miss of the game for her. Gilsonen. The hands of Akel.
Oh, another tip there. Well done.
Anderson. Altschwager, yeah, just couldn't deliver to a teammate. But, they'll get it back, the Swifts, and plenty of time for another goal or two in this first quarter. Broadbent, no name on her uniform today. I don't know how that's happened. Allison with the ball now. We know who she is. Adamson and Anderson working together. Fellows the penalty. Just really surprised how subdued the crowd here is. It's all but full. It's a park, and they're it's taking in the contest, I suppose. I reckon the Thunderbirds would like them to get into the match a bit better. Altschwager. And 12 all. Well, it's a funny match. Thunderbirds did lead 10-5, so I must tell you, 7-2 since then, and the penalties heavily against the home side.
Yes, double figure there, 20 penalties to the Thunderbirds, only 10 to the Swifts. Fellows, 6 against her name.
If the Swifts go to this first break just 1 down or even level, they'll be more than happy. Out it comes, strong rebound from Carrie Worthley off her own shot.
Time is up.
The players are aware of that. The Swifts redouble their efforts. They'll throw one into the circle and hope for a penalty, perhaps. Umberto, no, they don't get the shot away. So that is a good finish to the quarter from the Swifts, restricting the Thunderbirds. And the Swifts won't be unhappy to find themselves trailing just by the 1.
And let's look at the first quarter stats for the home side. Adelaide Thunderbirds, and penalty attempts there, 20 against them collectively, as we mentioned in the call. Fellows with 6 against her name, and also surprisingly Rebecca Sanders with 5. Shooting stats for Worthley and Delaney were good up to the last few minutes. 13 from 16, still not very shabby, 81%, so they'd be very happy with that.
Underway in the second quarter. Well, not only did the Swifts manage to keep within 1 by the first break, they actually put up 2 more attempts in that first quarter. Altschwager, you see there now wearing the goal shooter's patch. So she and Megan Anderson have swapped in that break, and they line up this way now. Anderson at goal attack, Altschwager goal shooter. That looks to be the only change to inform you of after the first break.
And that would suit Anderson's game more so, being that very sweeping type player that likes to run, make movement. Altschwager with the height back at the goal circle can set up.
And perhaps with Jane being one of the players we know is unwell, might not have to do quite so much movement. Anderson has picked up nicely. She only shot 5 from 9 in the first quarter. So we're keeping in mind that she's not had a lot of time in goals this year.
There's Altschwager 80%, Anderson 60%.
Oh, Adamson did well. She has got good speed over the first 4 or 5 steps. And the Swifts by 2.
Yes.
This is a 3-0 start to the second quarter.
Oh, Ellis takes a great intercept.
Yes. Contact, goal attack, 7-3.
Tell you what, if the Swifts scrambled a good result here tonight, they would consider it some kind of miracle, I think, considering they're almost through the camp, but they're certainly helped by the absence of the usual captain for the Thunderbirds in Kath Harvey-Williams. Touch from Fellows, unlucky, because it fell straight to Anderson, who gave it off to Altschwager, and there we are, 16-13 lead. And the Swifts have scored the last 4.
Good. Demelza front position, falls away of Anderson, and there's the space behind her.
probably the kind of touch that Harvey Williams might have been backing up, the teamwork that she's built with fellows this year. I expect Peter Squire to read those as well. Anderson, long-range shot coming up.
It would be so totally fine as a wing defender having to work the arc of the circle the whole time to be actually allowed to go into the circle, and the defending skills are different for goal defence as opposed to wing defence.
Well, I think we've seen that the other way, when occasionally we've seen Kath Harvey-Williams asked to fill the role of a wing defence to come out of the circle. She doesn't look at ease. Broadbent, Gilsonen getting a nice flow on here, the Swifts. They've scored the last 5 goals. They're pinching themselves. I can't believe we're up by 4. Catherine Cox not playing. Anderson.
Oh, not too shy, Meg Anderson, to take on Squire. Cuts in front of her, switches it across the circle.
Probably would not have expected early in the week to have lined up on each other in this match. So quite fortuitous. We ended up speaking to both of them before the game, and they had a bit of a chat after they'd talked to us. They're obviously good friends and spent some time together, both here in Adelaide and in the Australian team at different times. Anderson again. It's 16-6 that the Swifts have outscored them since then.
Yes.
Come in runs, hasn't it? Akel. Anderson looking for Adamson, finds her. Really wanted it to be her that she delivered to. Olschwager, Fellows again, and she's getting frustrated with these calls going against her. Oh, that won't go either, but Olschwager's got such great height there, even taller than Fellows.
Oh, good work there. Anderson spotted.
Ellis backs up. Oh.
And spotted again.
Yeah, Laura Van Bert, sorry, was it Natalie that time? Laura, no, it was Laura.
Good tap there from Anderson.
Anderson receives a bullet from Akel.
Oh, well done. She has been so strong in this second term, going into the position of goal attack, starting a goal shooter, covering Kath Cox.
And they've pushed it out to a 7-goal lead halfway through the second quarter. The Swifts are really playing with some determination today in difficult circumstances. Adamson. Anderson working on a skinny amount of territory on that baseline with Squire defending, and through it goes again, and Anderson.
9 from 14 at 64%. But I think it's just a creative play that she's instigated in the last few sessions down court.
She's 4 from 5 in this quarter, Anderson. Todd Miller shaking his head here. He's not a happy Thunderbirds chappie. Slip me a note here. Thunderbirds are playing behind too much in attack. What do you think? Did you go right?
Shall we send it via courier pigeon to Mark? Do you
I'll just fold this up into an aeroplane, paper airplane, send it out there, see who picks it up.
Oh, good work there, Peter Squire.
Squire. Sanders. Worthley.
Oh. Delaney was shoved into that pass virtually, got the contact and the goal.
And the Thunderbirds with the centre pass and a 6-goal deficit.
13 turnovers to the Adelaide Thunderbirds, 9 to the Sydney Swifts.
Anderson, Adamson and Olschwager. Well, that's allowed to go, but Olschwager first to it. Trying to work away.
Base, yes.
She really worked away in front of both defenders, but in the end, the shot comes to
That was
Anderson.
better position there from Fellows, and Squire backing up on the goal line.
Obstruction against Broadbent. She's a long way from the circle. Starts to try and get there now, but almost screened out of it by her own player. She's there now.
Oh. Just made it.
5:20 left in the second quarter. Now the crowd's more into it, Monica. I think the Thunderbirds dropping behind and now making a run. Fans have their interest sparked.
Yeah, there was a lull in the crowd there for last part of the first quarter and the beginning of the second term, but now they've picked up somewhat, and that's what the home team needs, a bit of cheering and clapping and encouragement.
Contact against Gilson, and Laura von Berto finds Delaney. Delaney still only missed one for the match.
Yeah, she's doing very well today. 11 from 12, 92%. So turnover going the way of the Thunderbirds on that occasion, and given away.
Yeah, Ellis was right at Wordley's shoulder and put a sprint on to take the intercept. Akel. Adamson. Altschwager, no. Gee, they're just living it on the edge, the Swifts. They've actually had 9 more attempts than the Thunderbirds and lead it by 5. So accurate return from Worthley and Delaney.
Oh, good work, Jackie Delaney. Oh, absolutely magnificent. Brings the crowd almost to their feet.
Sanders, Delaney, hops it over for Laura von Berto. Contact against Broadbent. And Delaney's not happy.
Played in well. Delaney had the space. Michael Jordan each harder.
And the Thunderbirds have got a run on. They scored the last 3, and that is the deficit. With 3:40 left in the quarter. Akel, Anderson. How big was the lead? Time got up to 6 at one point, didn't it? I don't think it was any larger than that.
Oh, good
7,
attempt
it was
there.
7, yeah. So they've trimmed it to 3, and they've got possession.
Squire was forward and wasn't used. Fellows needs to take the obvious option.
Sanders. Oh, that's come off Anderson, says the umpire. Gee, it fell to the feet of both Squire and Anderson, and the call will favour the Thunderbirds.
I thought it came off Anderson's shins last.
Well,
Good
you
call.
would.
No, it was a good call. It did actually. Defender notices that.
Yeah.
Great jump, Ellis.
Especially when they're from Adelaide. I can't pass that on, viewers, what the look that Monica Lamb just shot me. Worthley. 10 from 14 for Carrie Worthley. Shooting 75% for the season, 71% today. Not quite halfway through the match. Delaney, oh, good pass across to Sanders, then on to Worthley, and she'll finish it. She does. Thunderbirds, the last 5 goals.
Just over 2 minutes remaining. Let's have a look. The pass straight into the pocket. Good positioning by Sanders. Feeds it well to Worthley, and that's doing her the world of good for her confidence.
Altschwager didn't want to shoot this, and oh, it was an ordinary shot in the end. She kept looking for Anderson, finally looked at the post, and threw up a brick. Umberto, Delaney, Sanders.
Now playing behind their player a lot. Oh, pops out.
Gilsonen. And 90 seconds left in the quarter. It's the Swifts by 1. At quarter time, it was the Thunderbirds by 1. It was Ronnie Akel's mistake there. It presents possession to the Thunderbirds and a chance for the equaliser.
Oh.
Not with Ellis there.
Ellis had her eyes on that from the moment it left T-Bird's hands.
Akel. Contact against Fellows. Shot coming up for Altschwager. She'll want to make it a better one than her last attempt. And she does.
So there were 2 opportunities there in that last minute and a half of play, Steve, for the Thunderbirds to equalise the score. Turned over twice.
Instruction against Megan Anderson. Thunderbirds, as Squire was just checking a look at the bench to see how much time was left. They stopped the clock in the room at 1 minute. And the bench keeps an eye on it with their own stopwatch. They'll know there's not a lot left. Anderson. Swifts would love to make the last goal theirs. Anderson. That's a decent range. Ought to put up a shot and make it count. And timekeeper is up. Delaney fires one to Worthley. Can't get the shot away. Bad luck for that, but a 2-goal lead to the Swifts after trailing by 1 at quarter time, and they're well in it.
And let's have a look once more at Jackie Delaney's move to the post. Creates it, puts it up, and it was very sweet. Half-time stats between Sydney Swifts, Adelaide Thunderbirds, penalties. The Thunderbirds leading that race there, 34, Squire and Fellows, keeper and goal defence respectively. Adding to that penalty count, rebounds, the Sydney Swifts with 9. Ellis has got 4 against her name. When you look at the amount of goals that the Thunderbirds are scoring, there's not many opportunities, so a great stat for the Sydney Swifts there. Turnovers, much the same. Intercepts, attempts to post, that's where it is. 37 attempts to the Swifts, 31 to the Thunderbirds, and that's the scoreline at the moment. 25 plays 27.
Away we go, third quarter, anybody's match, just 2 in it. And these are the teams not quite in equal second place, because the Thunderbirds over the season have built a very handy percentage, and it could be crucial in a few weeks' time. Well, more than a few weeks, because next week, of course, there's the commencement of the break for the Commonwealth Games. We'll chat a little bit about that before the end of the match. Pops out, and it's the Swifts' ball. Yes, a 4-week break from the competition. Be a test for the players coming back.
And a test for the players that haven't played competition that 4 weeks also.
Fellows. Sanders fires one off to Delaney. There's the old firm at work. Worthley. In that second quarter, the T-Birds shot 12 from 15. The Swifts 15 from 19. So they both were pretty good in that second quarter. Some improvement, actually, for the Swifts, who were 12 from 18 in the first quarter. Worthley. Some speculation about whether Thunderbirds might make a change in the long break.
Smart work from Sanders.
Obstruction, wing defence outside.
Obstruction against Gilsonen. Delaney just shakes off Ellis for the attempt, which is short.
Yeah, you could see when it left her hand it was going to drop short.
Contact on the ball, wing attack.
Seems a strange pass, but there was contact on it from Laura Umberto. Broadbent fires it to Anderson. Across to Adamson. We've got the A-team at work here. Altschwager now to finish it off. And we've got Akel. We've got 4 of them. 4 A's. Sounds like my school certificate pass. Anderson, for those who can remember. Oh, crash. That's Squire, Fellows and Schwager coming together.
Here's the sandwich coming up. Schwager comes off second best.
3-goal lead for the Swifts, but the ball safely in the hands of Worthley for this attempt, which is a good one. 12 from 16 for Carrie Worthley.
Always a must sink after the half-time break.
Kept in, but only to the advantage of Fellows, and Altschwager just jumps on it with those long hands, long arms, hands on the end of the long arms.
That's usually where they are. Yeah, it was just a bad offload from Fellows. He's probably had a few dodgy passes in this game today. Once again, yes. Carrie Worthley, 13 from 17.
Hinkle. Anderson. Adamson. Early in the third quarter. So in the first, it was the T-Birds by 5 at one point. In the second quarter, it was the Swifts by 7. Only 2 in it now. And a touch there from Fellows, good enough to force the turnover.
Squire picked up the pace and took the front position. Oh, good waiting there from Worthy. That was really smart work. Just to hold it up.
Good run coming here from the Thunderbirds. Trailing only by 1 and with possession, Squire, Delaney. Sure, some calming words spoken by Mark Angove to break. Harvey Williams unable to play tonight. So too Catherine Cox for the Swifts.
14 from 18, 78% to Wordley, 16 from 19 for Delaney.
Played some monumental matches, these teams. 30 all it is in the third quarter. As Kath Cox, who attempted to warm up for about 2 minutes before the match, we knew she was unwell. In fact, the sickest of the players who were feeling not 100%. She just couldn't take the court. Worthley. That was desperately short. But we know Ellis, Akel and Olschwager also feeling it tonight.
Held up quite well, Thunderbirds defence, working hard in the mid-court, well backed up. And I have been watching Laura Von Berto. I'm blown away with her work rate. She gives, she goes, she offers again, she creates, she moves to space. She is just phenomenal in assisting the forward line. Here's the pressure mid-court. Squire head up. Backs her judgment, reads it well.
She didn't just close down the space. She came from the next town. And the Thunderbirds are in front. They've scored the last 5. And away again. And the Thunderbirds, 5 unanswered goals. And the Swifts have been forced to make a change. We knew Liz Ellis was unwell. She's been unable to continue. So the defensive line now looks this way with Alison Broadbent dropping back to goalkeeper. Casey Bye comes on at goal defence. Wish the Swifts well. But, another one succumbs to the illness that's going through the camp. Delaney, lovely shot.
It was a great shot. 19 from 22, Delaney, 86%.
Thunderbirds are leading this quarter 8-3. Make it 9-3.
Yeah. Great play for the forward line. Delaney making the space along the goal line.
Yeah, and you've got some of the Port footballers here. Brendan Lade there with the cap, and Stuart Dew beside him. I think we had Adam Kingsley here as well.
My power boys. Oh yes,
geez,
doing very well on the top of the league AFL ladder.
We'll start a fight here in the Adelaide crew. We'll either
I don't really care.
Pros or Port supporters. It's nice to see them supporting the netball, though, as Delaney puts up a shot just short, and Broadbent looks like she's redoubled her efforts in the absence of Ellis. Just showing by where she wants it. Adamson. And another one taken by Thunderbirds defence. It's Natalie Von Berto who cleaned up there. Fellows now, Squire, Von Berto, her sister, Laura. Fellows. Delaney.
And no disrespect to Cassie Bye, but I think perhaps Jackie Delaney will have the upper hand on experience.
And the Swifts are really in trouble now as this illness takes hold of another player. Olschwager is out of it. And on comes Nat Sloan. So with the Thunderbirds up by 4, it's really difficult to see the Swifts recovering now, halfway through the third quarter.
And Olschwager doing well, Steve. Her stats 20 from 24, 83%, but at the end there, no energy to continue.
So Sloan would play at goal shooter. Anderson the attempt. Now Sloan and Anderson know each other pretty well. There'll be some combination there, but so the Swifts trailing by 3. Sometimes it's as more of a problem for your opponents when they see that you're weakened this way. It's very hard for them to stay 100% focused.
I don't think that would be the case. It's probably harder.
Not at a conscious level. Like we say, okay, we've got to keep giving 100%, but something somewhere can switch off in the back of the brain.
I think it's more of the change of player personnel on court. You've adapted to one player, then you're getting switched on to another player, and the format of the team is changing down court. There could be a different, rhythm and style and whatever else. So
Anderson, Adamson. Oh, nice move. Contact against Squire, so Anderson will retake the shot.
strong move there from Anderson.
So the Swifts bench looking very empty. Jan Troy, the manager, they're all out the back. No need to go any further with what they're doing out there, but they are not well. They are not well. Liz Ellis, Jade Elschwager, Catherine Cox. Catherine Cox is actually here, but she hasn't played any court time. She's sitting on the bench next to the coach.
Still in touch, though. 1 goal, the difference, and showing a lot of fight and spirit the Sydney side.
That's it. With the keeper, shot or pass.
Worthley just takes up the right position. She needed to. Thunderbirds by 3 with the centre pass.
Stats, sorry, I was about to say the stats there for the T-Birds. 43 penalties against them. That's a very high penalty rate as opposed to the Swifts on 29.
But as a ratio, it's evened out a little, Monica.
Yeah.
It was 2 for 1, they were conceding early in the match.
It's still Squire and fellows in there fighting hard with a lot of penalties against them.
No goal. Goal attack, you're out of play. That's Jackie Delaney. Back you go. And Delaney moved off. And it's all the way to the transverse line. 1 boo or 2 went up.
Worthley sets it up. I didn't see anything wrong with that.
Sanders. Contact against Anderson, and the Thunderbirds just probably steadying now. If they can convert here, push it out by 4 with 2:20 to go in the third. They'll have won this quarter quite convincingly. Delaney steps around Broadbent, but she makes the rebound her own. Gilsonen onto Akel. Haven't scored too many recently, the Swifts. Sloan, nice roll.
Yes. Effective work there from Nat Sloan.
Get a little bit more out of her. She's just 2 from 2, having joined the game in this third quarter. She can settle into it. Fine Anderson. Where are the defenders? They're sort of arriving now.
On the late play.
Yeah, Squire's going to walk up. Oh, do I have to? It's not her position, goal defence, but she's done a pretty good job. Delaney.
Shuttle pass where the shooter is.
Still with the greater attempts to post, the Swifts, 51 attempts and 49 attempts to the Thunderbirds.
Adamson, Anderson. Sloan. Oh, and Fellows picks up the scraps after the drop from Adamson.
Oh, great pass there from Sanders.
Delaney working in front of By and gets it. 23 from 28, Jackie Delaney. Good
Really
form
open.
from the Australian player.
Court opened right up there from that pass from Sanders. Delaney, eyes open.
Oh, Delaney again with both By and Broadbent paying attention to Worthley. You don't want to leave Jackie Delaney unattended.
And at the rate she's shooting at the moment, 83%. It's probably one of her best games this season.
And the Swift just cannot get it into the circle. They're coughing up possession too much here. Turnovers really hurting them. Thunderbirds the last 3. Make that, oh, I was going to make it 4. Might yet.
Yes, it was replay.
It's hard to make that a consistent rule, isn't it? I think the rule itself doesn't really assist umpires. You've got to make a judgment call on whether batting the ball like that is control or not.
I agree, Steve. Yes, a real grey area with the replay ball.
Well, I'm not passing a judgment on the umpires here. I just think that's a difficult one to get right every time.
Damage centre contact. Goal defence hold. Back arm.
Nat Sloan. They need this. Good shot from her, and they only trail by 3, but they were up by 2 at half-time. Lost the quarter by 5 to this point. No touch there. So the Swifts have it. Only a second or 2 left. They'll try and get it down there in a big hurry. Akel just hurls it in hope. Put it up, quick. Yeah,
great shot.
Oh, that's a great goal to get in the shadows at 3/4 time. Mark Engo, even though when I guess her team is smiling about it, and the Swifts trail by 2.
Let's look at it one more time before the stats. Great pass, opened the court right up. Sloane right under the post, had to sink that one and did for the Sydney Swifts. There's been so many team changes for the Swifts during the course of this game. Illness preventing them from playing their main 7. And penalties to date. Sydney Swifts, 34 penalties. Broadbent with 12. She's moved from goal defence back to cover keeper. Goals there between Anderson, Altschwager and also Sloane. At the moment, 38 from 53, so more scoring shots for the Sydney Swifts, and unfortunately just down by 2 at the moment.
It's the Swifts with the first possession of the final quarter, and they've made yet another change, but only between Casey Bye and Alison Broadbent. They've swapped positions at the back. Sloane swings it across to Adamson. And in traffic, off the ground, Anderson picks up the ball and goals. So set for a very interesting last 15 minutes here. Catherine Cox, who looks, well, she looked grey as a ghost before the match. She still looks anything but happy. Sweet goal from Delaney. In one way, this match hasn't been anything like what we expected in terms of playing personnel, and yet it's been the close contest we wanted.
It's been a really tough game for the players that obviously haven't been in peak condition, and also with the omission of Kath Harvey from the Thunderbirds lineup. That is their strength. The combination of that, Fellows and Harvey and Squire, they're just so rock solid and had the least amount of goals scored against them defensively. As Adamson goes down and gets back up.
Allowed Sanders some space. Pass off to Delaney, who's just on fire today. 26 from 31. And the crowd well into this match now. A minute or two into the last quarter. Akel.
But all credit to Anderson and Sloane when you look at the depth of their shooting personnel. They've got Altschwager, Cox unwell, and they've been able to bring on Sloane and Anderson, and they've stayed well and truly in touch. They've performed quite well on that forward line.
And at a pinch, they could move Kelly Adamson up there as well. She's spent some time at goal attack. But Delaney is coming so nicely out of her hand today. I'll tell you what, Jill McIntosh will be pleased to see how well Delaney has played today.
I don't know about the rest of the crew though, Steve. as far as the illness I meant, sorry.
Yeah, I think I knew what you meant.
There it goes, up to Anderson, but Squire cuts it off.
Worthley. Oh, that had to think about it and dropped. And Jackie Delaney putting in her best performance of the year. They've got 28 from 33 so far, and they needed her to stand up today, and she's delivered. Down by 4, what can the Swifts do? Off to Sloane from Anderson. Sloane is on perfect stats to this point. Just keep them going through, Nat. You'll get your team back in it, but trailing by 3, 12 to go. You've got to back the Thunderbirds from here. When you look at the changes they've been forced to make, and Bye and Broadbent there just...
out of play.
Worthley, I'm sure she'd have been thinking about this match for a few days. Chance to play the Swifts. As I mentioned, it was Jackie Roberts and Jackie Delaney who played in that round 5 win. Fellows, easy rebound.
Sloane shot that very quickly, didn't take the time to set up.
Would have been trying to get the shot away without a defensive arm to worry about.
Yes.
But as you say, you know, get set properly. That's the penalty you pay. Or the price, I should say, perhaps. Delaney, going to shoot from there.
Oh!
Why not? The young netballers here at Etsa Park, they love that. Can only dream of sinking those.
Oh, open, right open there, Worthley. Losing Cassie Bye. I'm waiting for a bye-bye joke from you.
Won't be enough for me. I'm not interested in puns. Lowest form of wit. That means I'm still trying to think of one.
I know.
Sloane. Adamson.
Contact on defence. With her, total cover. Bring it right.
Michelle Fippard not happy with Peter Squire and advances the penalty. And just as they're about to board the plane for Manchester, what a great sign for Australia. With difficult games coming up against teams like Jamaica and New Zealand, as the Australians look to defend the title they won in Kuala Lumpur.
And the court opening right up there as the Adelaide crowd getting quite excited now as the clock ticks down.
Thunderbirds looking to be the first team to win 50 games at home in the Commonwealth Bank Trophy. And 49 from 56 at home. That's an incredible home victory stat. This will be home win number 50. Sanders.
Move down there. Nice pace by Rebecca Sanders, just went offside in the process.
Gilsonen over the head of Adamson. Yes, so in weeks to come, that great series last year between Australia and New Zealand during the Commonwealth Games, while there's no National League matches to show you, we'll have another look at that great Australia-New Zealand series last year in our 5 o'clock slot. Sanders. Worthley. And that will see them safely home. They're out by 11 now.
Worthley 23 from 32, and for a long period there, the Sydney Swifts had more attempts to post, but currently the Adelaide Thunderbirds 70 attempts to post, 62 to the Swifts.
They're winning this last quarter 16-7, the Thunderbirds. Broadbent. Adamson was close for a good while. And although the Thunderbirds have played this match without Kath Harvey-Williams, their inspirational skipper, it was evident the Swifts were going to struggle. They ended early, 13-12 at quarter time for the Thunderbirds. The Swifts actually led by 2 at half-time, having been out by as many as 7. But the illness has caught up with them. So Liz Ellis has had to leave the court. Jane Olschwag has had to leave the court. Cox couldn't even start the game. And we know that Akel has played through the match, not feeling 100%. So they'll be glad to forget about this match.
Oh.
Nice idea from Sloane, but it was read early by Demelza Fellows. Delaney.
Cheeky as Jackie Delaney.
She's in one of those patches where she can't do anything wrong, I think. 35 from 40, 88% Jackie Delaney. Super game from her. Worthley shoots over Casey Bye, and they're on their way to a big win.
And it would be so disappointing for Sydney, because if you look at the strength of that side there, Anderson, Olschwager, Ellis, having to leave the court. Catherine Cox not even starting, as you mentioned. The only player that was eliminated from the main 7 for the Thunderbirds was Catherine Harvey. So I would suggest the form that they showed in the first part of the game, the Swifts, if those players had stayed on, I reckon they would have matched this scoreline.
Gee, in the second half at the moment, it's the Thunderbirds 34-18. And the Swifts led at half-time. Tells you the turnaround, the impact the changes have had, and the way the Thunderbirds have stuck to the task. Delaney. Some kind of match from Jackie Delaney. This is the 6th time this year the Thunderbirds have scored 60 or more. Make that 61. And Delaney is closing in on 40 goals. Maybe not time enough to get that many. Akel. Sloane. Puts the brakes on. Thunderbirds have scored the last 13. And finally the Swifts. So a run of 13 goals. No wonder Marg Angove is happy.
She still doesn't smile.
Oh,
just a wry smile.
Well, there was a
You
smile.
could see it in the eyes.
You know, she's very happy, quite proud. Won't Kath Harvey-Williams be happy when she hears this result? So this 50th win at home is just seconds away. The Swifts get a couple late in the match, restore some pride, but they've only scored 9 goals in this last quarter. It's got right away from them. Nice work between Adamson and Sloan to set up this attempt. And rings out, and Fellows spots Sanders on the charge. More of Umberto, but Gilson in there. April, Anderson. Timekeeper's up. Sloan. And timekeeper's got to hurry over. And I think that's all the scoring we'll see. There we have it. Well, a disconsolate Julie Fitzgerald. They did the best they could. They had no subs left. And I'm sure a word of sympathy or two from Mark Angove to Julie Fitzgerald, explaining now how unwell the team has been, but you can only beat the side that comes out against you. And they couldn't beat Jackie Delaney today, who was just on fire for the Thunderbirds. She ended up with 37 from 42. She had a field day out there, saving her best match of the season for a very important game indeed against the Swifts. And the penalties much more even in the end, after Thunderbirds at one stage were giving away 2-1. Not much in the rebounds or turnovers or intercepts. But in the end, the Thunderbirds enjoyed a fair bit more possession, and Delaney and Worthley really did something with it. And I think this is a fine win for the Thunderbirds in difficult circumstances for both teams, but they've got the points, 61-47.
Great game from the Adelaide Thunderbirds, and with me is Jackie Delaney, who's just been presented, as all the other Australian players, with a bouquet of flowers. Well done, Jack.
Thanks very much, Monica. It was a great game tonight. I think when we found out earlier this morning that Catherine wasn't playing because she was sick, we all knew we had to rise another level, and then we get out here tonight and find out that half of the Swifts girls have been sick too. So it was always going to be a tough game right from the start, but I was happy with the way we played.
It really was tough for 3 quarters as such, because the score line, you're up by 1, the Swifts are up half-time, and you're up at 3/4 time. And to your credit, you came back, but so did they. Their tenacity was really positive for them.
Yeah, look, it was. I think everyone out there gave 100%, and we just wanted to make sure we had 4 good, consistent quarters, and then we were confident that we could overrun them in the end. So I think we did that. We achieved all of our goals, so we're happy with ourselves.
And you personally, you've had great stats during this game, perhaps a season that you were disappointed with, but your stats, 37 from 42, 88%.
Yeah, look, I wish I could do that every week. I obviously haven't personally had a very good season in terms of stats so far, so I'm really looking to concentrate towards the end of the last half of the season and also the Commonwealth Games.
And what a time too to go off to the Commonwealth Games on those stats. We wish you all the best from the ABC crew, and come back with the gold, and we'll see you in round 13.
Thank you very much, we will.
Well, that's just the result. The Adelaide